is Laura from Doggy U, and today we're going to talk about making Reflectix window covers that look kind of pretty for inside of your van. So we want to use Reflectix to keep the heat out of the van or into the van, depending on what season you're in. But mostly for me, it's out of the van because I have dogs and I'm living in the van, so I want to make sure that I can keep it as cool as possible. Having some type of heat barrier is really important, especially when you're either living in the van or using your car to, say, crate dogs out of. When I'm at a competition, I use this big reflective sheet that goes over my entire car, but that's not necessarily possible in a van. And same thing if you wanted to use something a little less conspicuous than the giant reflective sheet over the van, you could make these type of Reflectix covers for your regular car or van to keep the heat out and keep your dogs cooler at competitions. So Reflectix is this bubble wrap type material that you can get at your local Lowe's or online. I'll put a link below, where you're going to use it to cover up the windows in the sunlight, and it makes a huge difference as far as keeping your van nice and cool. So once you've cut out your window covers, how do you keep them in the windows? Now, a lot of people just shove them in and put the visor over them or try to make sure that they fit so snugly that they shove in there. But what I found was these wonderful force magnets, they're called, and they're super, super highly magnetic. Plus they have this little clip that will pull your Reflectix cover onto your window without having to guess if it's going to stay there or not. And I love them. So you just clip them right on like that, super easy. The other reason I'm using these is I found that I couldn't just shove the Reflectix into some of the windows because of the type of windows that I had installed. For instance, these windows back here have a lot of pop-out cover that won't allow you to put the Reflectix on without some type of clipping option. Same thing with the front passenger windows. They have a bar that's important for you to have the clip. The other reason that I'm using these force magnetic clips, which I'll link to below, is because of the shape of the window and because of the screen. So I want to be able to keep the sun out, but also be able to have the airflow from the screen, especially when I'm pulling air through with my fan. So these clips allow me to clip this portion of my Reflectix up towards the top so that I have that airflow. So I made it with a split in the center, and then being able to fold this up when I need to, and also close it when I need to as well. So the final reason that I'm using the clips is I added fabric to the outside of my Reflectix, which made them heavier and a little bit more challenging to keep in the windows. But I really wanted the inside of my van to look homey and comfortable instead of like metallic Reflectix. So I took the curtain material that I was using for the curtains inside and I sewed it onto the Reflectix. So let's talk about how we go about making these window covers. So the first thing you need to do is cut a piece of Reflectix to approximately the size of the window. I am not one of those people that's super scientific about doing this. I held up the roll of Reflectix to the window, and then I cut approximately around it, and then I just started trimming it off until it fit inside the window. I also, in the front windows, left a little tab of Reflectix so I had something to clip the magnets to. In the back, I didn't need to do that. Next thing that we're going to do, once we've got our general shape for our Reflectix, is cut the fabric to fit the Reflectix. After that, we'll go ahead and sew it on. You want to roll the edges so that it looks finished. So you can either roll the edges before you sew it onto the Reflectix, or you can roll the edges while you're sewing it on, which is a little more challenging. You also want to have a longer stitch on your sewing machine when you're sewing this type of thing to the Reflectix. Once you've sewn on the fabric, it's as simple as clipping it on with the magnets, and it works fabulously. It takes just a few seconds at night to put all of the Reflectix into the window, totally covers the window for privacy, and then it also keeps heat out during the day. There's a huge difference between having those Reflectix covers in the window and not having them, especially in direct sunlight. We were able to stay relatively cool in 80+ degree weather in Florida because we had those Reflectix covers, and I love that the inside of them looks homey and like a curtain. If you like this video, make sure you hit that thumbs up and comment below if you have questions. Make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode.